Hey everybody. It's been a while since we've done a live design stream. It's up until recently, it's been a lot of like reviewing existing things. I'm ready to start cooking on some new stuff. So this afternoon we are working on the Artificer. I've been making a lot of good progress on it already. And I'm excited to sort of show you guys what I have so far. It's still very, very early, but I'm starting to work out the core mechanics, the core fantasy of it. Um, Got some new art by one of the main artists, Earl Lan. He's he's been making a lot of the art. I really like his take on the Scion. For the Artificer, I like this. I'm not in love with it. So we make. I do have some separate Artificer art coming. That one is still cooking from another artist. We'll see which one I like better. Hey Edward. Hey Miko. Centuric. Chaz. Tao. Tomorrow you'll be running your first Nimble game with 3 other friends who chose Shadowmancer, Zephyr, and Stormshifter. Ooh, it's gonna be a spicy party. It's gonna be a very spicy party. Okay, so I want to share with you guys. Hey Gary, hey RJ. I want to share with you guys, Ross, what I've been working on so far. The sort of fantasy, the direction. You guys, let me know if you can hear me okay. If we're having any issues or problems. If not, we'll keep cooking. If you guys can read, can you guys read the notes? Is this big enough? Do you need it even bigger? Currently at work. Okay, cool. Yeah, Matt, if you want to join in the voice chat, you're just ping me. Hey, Lewis. On Discord, I always call you Lewish because it's Lewis H, but it's Lewis. Lewis, hey. What sort of aesthetic are you going for? Magitech, steampunky, crazy mechanic. So Centuric, great question. I guess we'll start there. So the aesthetic, I want to leave that as open as possible. So first, I guess we'll start with the name. Artificer. If the name ended up being Artificer, I think I'd be happy with that. I'm leaning toward Mechanist because that's like a little bit. I do like to have a little Schluis. I do like to have a bit of separation from like common tropes, like common D&D things. That's why we don't have a rogue. We have the cheat. We don't have a barbarian. We've got berserker. So people who are familiar with other RPGs, they don't come to it with their preconceived ideas like, oh, an artificer should be this and this and this. PF2E uses inventor. Okay, I didn't know that. So I'm leaning toward a mechanist. And then I've got Gadgeteer was another cool name that I liked, but I think Gadgeteer might be one of the subclass names. So the initial fantasy was Iron Man. Okay, so like when initially last year when people were saying, "Hey, Evan, you're gonna make an Artificer," I was like, I don't really like Artificer. Like I don't get the fantasy. And then someone put an animated GIF of like Iron Man. I was like, instantly, I get it. How cool! All right, a dude who makes inventions, and that's how he fights, and that's what makes him so cool. So Iron Man, Rocket Raccoon. Is it just Rocket? I don't know. Batman, like Batman without all of his toys and things. He's just man, right? Jinx. I don't know much about League of Legends and all that sort of stuff, but I've heard that Jinx is a pretty good example of an artificer type of thing. There's Dr. Robotnik. Is it Dr. Robot Nick? That's the guy, right? Dr. Eggman? Is he called Dr. Eggman? I always thought he was Dr. Robotnik. Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik. Okay, so both. Yeah, so so like those are the fantasies. I think those are the sort of broad people in pop culture that we're going for. So could it be steampunky? Absolutely. Could it be crazy mechanic? Could it be more magic-y? Could it be like more of like a potion type of like alchemist? I think alchemist is like on the not strictly alchemist, but could you have some alchemical type of flavor to it? I think you could. Hey Matt, gotta catch up on 2x speed. We just started. Yeah, we just started. So I want it to be someone who like sort of like Stormshifter who can like fill different roles, can really be good at can choose to be good at different things, right? Sort of that kind of thing. Mechanist gives me too much of the vibe of tech. What about someone who animates with magic runes? Yeah, it could be like you and like perhaps. Like, yeah, we'll see. Well, I definitely haven't settled on a name. Um, I in in the mechanics, like we're going through. It's like, flavor it differently. Like this, so the names and numbers and all those sorts of things are not set in stone. For instance, like we've got like plasma blade and railgun as like two of the main weapons that this guy could invent. But it's probably not going to end up with either of those as being the final name. But those are just sort of like the sort of the direction that I'm following. Yeah. So if you guys have, it should be largely open, so GMs could pick the flavor they want at their table. Absolutely, and more than the GM, I think the player. Like I think the player can like if you want to have like pulse gauntlets that like shoot pulses of whatever out of your hands, like that's cool. If it's goggles for you and it's lasers, like yeah, go for it. If it's like more like spiritual and magic-y and like you do like different kind of like you could totally flavor it how you want. I think it's going to have enough leeway to be able to satisfy all that sort of stuff. I think alchemist as a subclass of artificer means we likely don't get a full class alchemist later on though. Yeah, so it's definitely not going to be an alchemist subclass, but I'll just keep going. Let's sort of show. I'll show you guys what we got so far, and you guys can tell me. So what are the utility of the key stats currently? So like how I make a class is I will ask myself a bunch of questions, and I will sort of just put a bunch of different answers, and I will sort of see. We'll see like what kind of stuff feels right. So the utility of the key stats, it is an int and strength based class, and is primarily int. So it's int and strength. So int might be like how many charges or how far can you push your inventions, or how good your inventions are. And perhaps strength is like how many of those inventions you can carry. So like both are valuable. It's like if you really only want like one or two inventions, like you can have relatively low strength and then high intelligence. But if you want to have like a bunch of different tools, you just like have a rucksack full of like all of your different gadgets, and you carry everything. Then maybe you're like high strength, low int, that kind of thing. What about unique mechanics? I would love a class, a hero that could like roll lots of dice. So like currently, like the maximum number of dice that any class rolls is like two to three dice is sort of the most you can roll. But like, what if we had a class that could just like roll like a bunch of dice? But the problem with a bunch of dice, if you've seen the creator's kit at all, is that it takes a long time to find the dice, one thing, and if it's a bunch of different dice. But the biggest problem is it takes a while to like add up all of those dice to sort through what all this means, right? Oh, my camera's. I don't know why this happens all the time. Maybe anybody who is a OBS wizard can explain it to me. But every time I open up OBS, my camera's upside down, or like this thing is all wonked out. So I don't know. Maybe yeah. See, like I broke something. I don't know what's going on. I better stop. All right, I'll quit changing things. OBS just it's got ghosts or something. Okay, so the problem with a bunch of dice is it can be hard. It takes time to math out all of that stuff. So instead of like rolling a bunch of dice and summing them, what if it was like a dice pool mechanic? So like for like a lot of tabletop like war games. I've never really played those kind of games, but like you'll roll a bunch of dice and then like only the sixes matter, right? That kind of thing, or like fives and sixes, or if you roll a one, like something bad happens. Otherwise, like the effect happens. That kind of thing, I think, would be really, really neat. That kind of thing, I think, would be really, really neat. All right, so let's go back to our document. So it's not a hard mechanic that I've decided on yet, but I'm trying to lean in that sort of direction. Saves. So intelligence is obviously going to be their advantage save. But what would it be in since strength is their secondary key stat? Strength can't be their disadvantage save. So the only two stats are Dex and Will for their disadvantage save. Are they more slow, or are they more like gullible, like susceptible to charm? I don't see an artificer necessarily as slow. They could be slow. Um, but yeah, like someone who's like really, really book smart, but could be like charmed easily. Like that sort of makes sense to me in the fantasy. So I'm leaning toward Will as being the disadvantage save. Okay, so armor. Um, maybe they'll wear cloth. Maybe they'll wear leather. I don't think plate or mail or anything else like that is appropriate for this. But what if the only armor they could wear, the only armor they would want to wear, is the armor that they've invented themselves, right? Um, Same for weapons. I think like hammers and wrenches, like that kind of thing, might be cool. But I think even cooler, like what if the only weapons they're proficient at are their inventions? Okay. So level one. So level one should be, and I'll just add a little bit of space so we're not too distracted here. Okay. So level one should be very, very simple, but not so simple that it's boring. So let's go to level one of, like, say, the Berserker. Level one of all classes should be simple, but it must give a unique flavor of the class. So Berserker gets a rage, and you get a little bit of taste of like how the rage mechanic works, and how you deal more damage as a Berserker, and how you reduce incoming damage as a Berserker. It's not complicated. It's very, very straightforward. It's sort of like this one thing, but you get a flavor of the class. Okay, so with this inventor who can do lots of different things, let's start with like two small inventions, perhaps. So invention, Pulsar, gauntlets, again, names, details, like look at broad strokes. Reach, so it's sort of like a melee weapon, but with reach. So what I'm thinking is like Iron Man's like gloves that shoot out like the little, pew pew pew. I don't know what they're called. 1d6 plus int. Okay, so this is the first weapon, like quote unquote melee weapon, that has a reach of 4, for instance. So that's a unique thing, and it's the first weapon that uses int as a modifier rather than like strength or dex. Okay, so right away, like this is kind of a cool take on weapons. It's got a very, very long reach, and it uses int. So, but it's a d6 weapon. It's not the biggest weapon, but it's reliable enough. And then so that's our first weapon, and then the second invention is a patch bolt vest. So again, name might change, but it'll be 2 plus int armor. So again, your intelligence has more to do with this hero than anything else. And then whenever you defend, maybe you gain temp HP equal to your strength. Like that kind of thing might be cool as well. So like a little bit of additional like buffer zone. And maybe it's like after you defend, or something like this. Dual wielding Pulsar gauntlets. So like all of the different inventions like will have their own like upgrades, Matt. So like maybe one upgrade could be dual wielded gauntlets. It's like perhaps that could be one of the things, or maybe you'll need extra strength. Yeah, like Scruffy said, you'll need extra strength to do it with them. Like that kind of thing. That is definitely the vibe that I'm going with. So initially, you're going to start out with like these two basic inventions, and then the important thing here, and it may not be gain strength temp HP. It may be something else, but we want your intelligence and your strength to be contributing in various ways. So flavors free. They're your inventions. Feel free to reflavor them however you like. Give them a name too. So like for me, like the Pulsar gauntlets might be it might be like or maybe not the Pulsar gauntlets, but like the big range weapon, the railgun. Like I might call that Old Bessie, right? Or Bad News, or Moneymaker, or whatever. Or I might want my Pulsar gauntlets to be like I've got laser eyes. Like I don't actually have regular eyeballs. I just put like these laser things in my eyes, like All right, super cool, super cool. Maybe you don't want like a railgun type of thing, and again, the name will change. Maybe you want just like a handheld cannon, right? That you just carry around and just blast people with. Or maybe instead of a plasma blade, you want it to be like some sort of weird spirit sword type of situation, like knock yourself out. Like the mechanics are there. Do whatever you like. Okay, so that's level 1. So level 2 with all these classes, level 2 is when it really starts to get much more detailed and much more interesting. Can reach weapons attack through allies? Um, that's not something that's ever come up. It's not something that's ever come up. So if we go to, so just default, anytime there's a question, rule in favor of the heroes. So yeah, unless there's some good reason not to, then sure, why not? Okay, so level 2, like for instance, the mage. Level 2 is, so level 1 mage just gets a few cantrips. But level 2, I would assume so. Yeah, why not? Because like range weapons, you can attack through your allies. Like you would assume, like get down, and then blast them. So level 2 mage gets you get mana, and you unlock like a bunch of extra spells. So that is the sort of kind of thing that we're doing for level 2 with the Artificer. All right, so let's scoosh these down. So rather than mana, so this Artificer doesn't have mana. They don't have magic. What they do is like real physical reality things, but they're just really smart. Okay, like they make cool inventions. So this Artificer doesn't get access to any spells. Like they only do cool cool things with their inventions. So one concept that I really liked is being able to overcharge these inventions, to put more juice into it, like you're overclocking your CPU. And I've got a few different ideas about how this will work. But I've got like the neighborhood of what it's going to look like. So I don't have the exact address. I don't have it pinpointed, but I've got a neighborhood of a few different ideas. Probably going to go with one of those. Okay. So whenever you enter combat, you gain charge dice, or maybe they'll be called invention dice or energy dice, or who knows what. Like I'm not sure yet, but I'm pretty sure that they're going to be D6s because of the way the math works out, and I'll show you that in a second. To pump your inventions up beyond their normal working parameters, increasing their power, but also risking a malfunction. Okay, and I'll talk more about malfunctions in a second. You can give an invention up to like int charges at a time. Again, that might change, but that's a cool way to like the smarter you are, the more you can like juice it. You can figure out different ways to tweak things. But the thing is, if any charge die or invention die, whatever, rolls X or less, your invention malfunctions. So what is X? Where X is equal to the number of charged dice rolled. Okay, so sounds a little bit awkward, but let me just sort of show you how it works. So say I've got my railgun type of invention, and normally again, I don't know exactly what the railgun's going to do, but like say the railgun is like a D20, okay? But I want to juice my railgun by 1 step. Okay, so I roll 1 additional invention die or like something else. And if I'm rolling 1 die, as long as I don't get a 1 or less, then I'm fine. But if I really want to juice it, like let's say I want to juice it 3 times, like way beyond what it's supposed to be able to do. So I'll roll 3 dice, and if any die is a 3 or less, then I get a malfunction. Okay, so that is the mechanic. So that is the idea. So if you roll 2, as long as no die is 2 or less, so like this would fail, but this would be fine. So if you roll 1 die, as long as no die is no 1s show up, 2 dice as long as no 2s show up, 3 dice as long as no 3s show up. Might it get higher than that? Perhaps, but I want to show you the cool math behind this. Give me 1 second. Let's get to the math. Okay, so mishap. So I want the Artificer to feel like it has a push your luck mechanic. Okay, it should be fun and silly. So mishaps in particular, mishaps should be fun and silly, not overly punishing. Okay, so we're not talking about like critical failures, like, oh, you drop your weapon, you can't attack, like, ha ha ha, neater. Like, it's not that. It should be fun and silly and like add a bit of chaos to combat. It should not punish your allies, like, at all. It should be so. Okay, so so before I really work on a lot of mechanics, I try to think about what feelings I want to evoke. It should evoke, yeah, I deserve that feeling. Like, yeah, I juiced that thing 3 times. I deserved it, and it should not evoke, man, I hate this class. I can't do the cool things because things are always breaking. Like, you're supposed to be a cool inventor, a cool artificer or mechanic, a gadgeteer. You should be good at what you do. Like, so even with mishaps, even when a mishap takes place, the thing you wanted to do still happens. It's just something else also happens. Okay. Okay. So, what? So that the significance of if you roll one die, a 1 or less, if you roll 2 dice, if you roll 3 dice, the significance of that. So this is how the math works out. Okay. So actually, first I asked myself, how frequently should a mishap happen per encounter? How often should a mishap take place? If you're cautious, if you're not overclocking your CPU, you should expect, 80% of the time there should be 0 mishaps. Your inventions work reliably. If you're not pushing them beyond their limit, maybe like 1 in 5 encounters. If you're not juicing your inventions, you should have like 1 mishap. Okay, so this is the feeling. These are the odds that I wanted to hit. Okay. If you're juicing them some, you're being like kind of responsible with it. You should expect, uh, 1 in 5 chance that you're not going to have any mishaps. So like if you're lucky, you're not going to have any mishaps. Most often, if you're juicing it some, you're like 1, maybe 2, you should expect 1 mishap during that encounter. If you're and like maybe 10 per, very very rarely should you expect 2 mishaps. Okay, so mishaps should be like once per encounter, maybe twice, and you have control over how often this happens. But if you're really pushing, like every turn you're juicing it as far as you can juice it, you should expect like 2 mishaps in that encounter, like maybe 3, but like never 4. Like that, those are the odds. Like maybe not exactly those numbers, but in that neighborhood, that sort of area, that is the feeling, that the amount of frequency that I was shooting for. Okay. So, what does this look like? So for rolling 1d6, um, there's a 17% chance of a mishap. Okay, so there's roughly 17% chance of getting a 1, like a 1 in 6 chance on a d6. If you're rolling 2d6 and you're looking for 1s or 2s, then there's a 56, so like roughly half and half percent chance of a mishap. And anytime you juice your invention like 3 times, like there's a chance it won't go wrong, but you're pretty much guaranteed that like if you're juicing your invention like 3 charges or 3 steps beyond what it was designed to take, then like you're lucky if you don't get a mishap. Okay, so like those are the exact sort of like odds that I was looking for, that I was feeling for. And I think something that's going to happen is as you level up, your dice, these d6 dice, they increase in size. So the odds of mishaps taking place go lower and lower, right? So you go from a 17% chance of a mishap down to a 10% chance, like with d10s. Okay, and then once you're like a relatively high level, level 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe level 12, 12. You could juice your weapons like 3 times, and like you have a decent chance of no mishap taking place, right? So I like the feel of that progression. So you're able to juice your inventions a lot more often, without the bad thing happening. But there's still enough chaos to where like there's never like a 0% chance or 1% chance of happening. Like if you're juicing your weapons or your armor, there's still a chance that something bad happens. So those are the odds that I'm going for, and that's why that mechanic. That's why the mechanic is how it is. So when I'm designing these things, I will think about the flavor of it. It should evoke, yeah, I deserve that. Like if you're pushing this thing way beyond what it's built to do, because you get this really cool effect and it breaks or something happens or blasts you halfway across the field, like that, yeah, what do you expect? I deserve that. I made that choice happen. Like it's not like a bad thing is happening when I'm using my weapons the way I designed them to. Like no, nothing bad will happen then. Like they work reliably. But if you're pushing it, then like yeah, I deserve that. That feeling is fun. Like that, like everybody laughs and everybody has a good time because like you opted into it, right? But if you just wanted to play this as, fairly straight or fairly conservatively, or if you're low on hit points or it's a tenuous situation, you don't want to risk getting blasted across the battlefield, then you have control over when that kind of thing happens. Okay, so first I start with the flavor and the feeling, and then I start with like what numbers, like what odds, how frequently should these different things happen, and then I tried a bunch of different ways to get close to these numbers that I wanted to get close to. So I tried like a bunch, like different size dice, and this way and that way, and like the curve. Like the first way I tried it, the curve was like a little bit too shallow. Like you could really juice your weapons a lot, and like pretty much nothing would ever happen. So mechanics are sort of the last. We start with flavor, we start with the feeling, then we start with like how often, like then we start with the goal, then we go to the goal, and then we go to the mechanics. How can we make the mechanics do the things that we wanted them to do? Okay, so let's pause there. Let's take a look at any comments. And if I missed your comment, feel free to retype it. Reach weapons can reach past allies, maybe even foes. In old spear battles, you'd be reaching over. Yeah, that makes sense, Chess. Some polearms were made to attack past row of friendlies into the enemy. Absolutely, yeah, definitely. More dice you roll, the higher chance of malfunction. Yep. So it's sort of like it's not like a linear thing. Like you're not twice as likely for a mishap to happen if you like roll 2 dice instead of 1. You're like something like 4 times as likely. Like it's, I don't know, cube or something. Fancy idea. Love the risk reward. Yeah. Percussive maintenance. Give your invention a whack and adjust one charge by die. Whoa, that's funny. Scruffy Cat. I love that idea. I'm just gonna copy that and paste that and just put that into here. That's such a cool thing. And maintenance is indeed a hard word to spell. You get close enough, and Google will help you. Percussive maintenance. Yeah. Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, plus one, yeah, good idea. I've been through a few different permutations trying out overloading inventions in my brew. One was a big effect unique to each invention that disabled the invention for the rest of the encounter. Yeah, so each invention has like a different failure state. And I'll show you guys those in a second. 80% of the time, it works every time. Another big effect tied to the subclasses that give them their unique identity. The current draft is a pseudomana charge system. That was certainly a good effect. Yeah, I missed the design sessions too. 5d6 overcharge. Yeah, that'd be nasty. You're guaranteed, basically guaranteed. If you guys do want to know like what the odds are, so like if we do like d6, 5 dice. This is gigacalculator.com, dice probability calculator. So 5d6, the chances of at least one of them rolling a 5 is how you calculate. So there's a 99.99% chance that you're getting a malfunction. So you're telling me there's a chance, right? So if you want a quick way to be able to figure out how some of these, so like probably like, so that there's not a meaningful difference between 5 and 4. So let's just double check. So this is a 99% chance. Okay, so probably overcharging something by 5 times is that there's no meaningful risk difference in 4 and 5. So probably 5 is just not going to be an option, right? So let's look at what the probability is between 4 and 3 and 4. Yeah, so 3, you have like a 12.5% chance of not getting a malfunction, but 4 is like you are 99.9% chance. So like there's a small but meaningful difference between 3 and 4. So maybe 4 is a good place to like cap it off, because like you don't want someone to be able to do like, oh, I'll juice it by 50. There's no difference between 48, 49, and 50. There's not any meaningful difference between 5 and 6, right? Put a ritual type of creation that it's more sure but take more time or more knowledge. Mimbro, if you want to rephrase that, I feel like there's a cool idea there, but I'm not quite understanding. Chaz, mishap idea. Players moved a random direction. Yep, I already got that. I'll show you that. Yeah, the GM basically gets to choose like in which area you land. Leak explosion. Player and adjacent creatures are hit by Hunter's grease effect. Yeah, that's cool. These odds are not intuitive. It may be worth having some sort of not necessarily numerical warning for less math-savvy players. I think the first time you do it, like you see, oh, like I'm twice as likely to, or I'm like I'm much more likely to fail if I juice it twice versus once. So, I could include a chart. I don't like to include odds with player facing things. I might include a chart like for GMs. For instance, like in the creator's kit, I think that the most useful chart in the creator's kit is the average hero stats chart. But this isn't really something that like the heroes should ever see. Like that, this is not a player facing thing. This is like only strictly a GM facing thing. Same with like the spells. There's like how much damage different spells do by tier. Like a player could figure that out if they wanted to. It's not like hidden information, but it's not good to show like the inner workings, like the behind the screen stuff to players generally. It's like a special effects artist who's like making a movie. Like they only show the movie, right? But you have to opt in. You have to like watch the deleted scenes or the behind the scenes stuff on the DVD or whatever to like see all like, oh, here's how we did this thing with the green screen and all this sort of stuff. Like the mechanics behind it. I think if for some people, if they learn the odds, if they learn some of the mechanics and reasons behind things, it loses a little bit of the magic. Like for me, I really enjoy that kind of thing. Double King should feel like the chaos table or less powerful. It's very different than the chaos table because like if for instance like if you have like this weapon, like say this is like the railgun. The railgun should have a mishap in like one particular way. The question is if it will do that, right? Your rocket boots will never jam, right? Your rocket boots will just like launch you in some random direction. But the railgun shouldn't launch you in a random direction. The railgun should jam, or the pulsar gauntlets should overheat. You know, so each invention, like I know exactly how this could go wrong. So that is sort of the fun of the Artificer, right? and the more you juice it, maybe the more it could go wrong in this way. So like the Pulsar gauntlets, if we go down to, if we go back to here, like if you charge the Pulsar gauntlets, so like for each charge, you deal extra damage equal to the sum charge, the sum of the charge dice rolled. The charge dice. So like these notes are like basically just for me. So if things don't make sense, then like don't worry, it'll all get polished. So you'll do extra damage and you push one space. So you'll push the target one space for each charge, and larger creatures are pushed half as far. And malfunction it's a backfire. You were pushed backward a number of space equal to the dice that malfunctioned. So if you roll 3 dice. And you have a 1, 2, and a 3, well, all 3 malfunction. It's a really bad malfunction. You get knocked back 3 spaces, and you land prone. So, like, if this malfunctions, I know it will malfunction this way, right? So that is the idea that we're going for, rather than like a chaos table. Chaos is like anything can happen because magic is unpredictable. But like my weapon, like I know it like it's going to break in this particular way. Are you going to be officially calling it Artificer? No, we start off talking about the different options, Maia. I'm leaning toward a Mechanist. I'm leaning toward Mechanist. I do like the name Artificer, but anybody who's played D&D, like they have an idea of what like a ranger should be, of what a sorcerer should be, of what a fighter should be. So a lot of people also have an idea of what an artificer should be. Artificers in D&D, they cast spells and they do like different like weird little things that are sort of special to D&D. And this class doesn't do any of that. So I don't want someone to have an idea in their head and then be disappointed or like upset. Like so, generally, so far I've renamed every class. I've renamed every class, and it helps me sort of like break away from some of the design preconceptions just myself as I'm designing. Ghostbit, hey, good to see you, Brandon. Made for homebrew, but was letting player craft their own inventions from a list of options I considered. Yeah, so Edward, that is like too fiddly. If a player in a GM wants to do that, they certainly can. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a list of inventions, like a fairly long list of inventions, like weapons, armor, like that kind of thing. And I'm going to have an even longer list of gadgets. So there's sort of like two different categories of inventions. And the inventions, they have additional effects when you juice them, right? So they are things that like you actively use in combat, and they can malfunction, and like you can use them over and over and over again. Like it's an invention. Like it's your gun. It's your armor. Like you invented this cool armor. The gadgets are sort of like single use. Like think of like potions and like like a single use thing that just works. But the gadgets, they can be upgraded to like like you can upgrade them like 1, 2, or 3, or 4 different ways. So those are sort of like the two big categories of things that I'm thinking. And if someone is into like they might like these gadgets but not those gadgets, and so they'll just pick those. So but like expecting someone to like actually invent the things, like that's too much to expect for a class like this. But that said, could you reflavor a gadget? Could you reflavor inventions? Absolutely. If your GM is cool with it, could you just make up a cool one? Yeah, because with the list of inventions, the list of gadgets that you have, there's going to be enough information to sort of tell you like these are the bounds of how powerful an invention could be. These are the bounds of what gadgets can do. And yeah, could you make your own that's fairly well balanced and a lot of fun? Probably. And I'd be all for that. If Brandon was playing Artificer and he wanted to do that, I'd be like, cool, man. But that said, if the inventions and gadgets and things that you can choose that you select and make and play with, if they're already fun, then like they're hopefully wouldn't be too much of a desire of like, I'm missing this kind of flavor, I'm missing this fantasy, I want to be able to do this sort of thing. Yeah, just as long as every mechanist has a chance to be unique. Absolutely. Okay, if you're not going for the 0.1% chance, are you even really playing a crazy inventor? Yeah. Most gamblers quit right before they make it big. 66 overcharge, yeah. I'm due, right? Can you get advantage on these rolls? I'm curious to see. Yeah, so great question, Gary. So that is something that I've actually been thinking about. Let's go to the dice. Sorry, I just moved my my dice camera. Okay, so say the Pulsar gauntlet. So actually, let's say I don't have a bunch of my dice here. All right, let's say that like one of your inventions is like a D8. Then we'll start with the railgun, because the railgun is going to be like a big like 2-action weapon, and maybe it'll be like a D20 damage weapon. So basically, you would decide I'm going to attack with my railgun. Oh, because of X, Y, and Z, I've got disadvantage. Okay, so I'll roll 2d2 and I'll take the lowest of the two, but I want to juice it 3 times. Okay, so I'll add my 3d6 and I roll it, and then so I remove the 12, 4. So I got a 4 on it, and then I got a 3, 5, and a 6. So a mishap did happen because I rolled 3. So like one way that I'm thinking about avoiding any confusion between like your charge dice or your invention dice and like your attack dice or your damage dice is like just keeping the separation of the die sizes different, so there's never any confusion about which is which. So that is one option. So perhaps the railgun might be like a D12 if the invention dice cap out at D10, or perhaps the Pulsar gauntlets damage die is a D4. So there's never any confusion. So that's one option that I've been thinking about. Because I don't want someone to have to like, okay, I'm going to roll my D6 attack with disadvantage or with advantage, and then now I'm going to roll my invention dice. Like I don't want multiple steps. Like it needs to be clean and smooth, and like you tell what's happening immediately. So that's something I'm keenly aware of, and I'm very much thinking about how to do this really nicely and smoothly. Okay, so a different option is, so like say for the railgun, it is like this big like 2-action, like boom, like some big, awesome, cool thing. Rather than rolling to attack, the railgun only, like you can only use the railgun if you use charge dice. Okay, so I'll charge it once. For every, so the idea that I had was for every die that doesn't mishap, you just deal 10 damage. Okay, so like if I'll roll 1, 10 damage, right? Let's say I roll 3. All right, I dealt 20 damage and I had 1 mishap. Or maybe it'll be you guarantee you're going to deal 30 damage, but I had 2 mishaps, so something bad will happen to me, right? So the damage could be decoupled from like rolling these attack dice, especially for like these kind of like special things that are not happening every turn. So there's a few different ways that I'm dealing with that, and I don't think it'll be a problem because I'm thinking about it very, very early already. I hope that helps. Hope that makes sense, Gary. Okay. Do you think there would be a tier of going wrong where it stops working entirely? Yes. So for instance, let's actually go through some of the different things, and I think it might head off some of these questions. So for instance, so your Pulsar gauntlets, you can charge them to deal extra damage and to like push creatures back, which sort of makes sense. And the malfunction is logical and fair. They backfire, I am pushed back a number of spaces, okay? And land prone, so like it costs you a little bit. Auto shields, so you can spend a charge to gain additional armor, and you can defend for free. So like there are these shields here that are like blocking for you, right? And again, the number is going to change. Everything's going to change. But if you have a mishap, then the shields are like lock up around you, and like you're restrained, right? So like you are sort of like locked into your armor, and it's going to be fairly easy to escape. But like you're stuck in this armor that like it's like boop, 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 like trying to block things for you, and like maybe like you have like your shoulder pads, or like something is happening to your auto shields, to where like they either like overlap with each other and like clog up the wrong way. Like if you've ever done maintenance on things, you know how many different ways things can go wrong. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the weapons that we're thinking. The plasma blade. So again, like think of like a lightsaber, right? So you always have the hilt of it, but if you give it some power, if you give it some juice, it like 1 or more charges, you ignite your plasma blade for this round. Okay, and as an action, you can just deal 10 damages. So you can just start chopping, right? And I think the cool thing about the plasma blade is that it ignores armor. So again, I'm thinking of the like the Halo. What's the sword from Halo? Is it called plasma blade? Halo sword name. Energy sword. Okay, I don't know. I played Halo 1 on like the original Xbox long years ago. That kind of thing. Or like again, like a lightsaber, like it doesn't matter how thick your armor is, like this is ignoring armor. But also the Artificer isn't really the tankiest class, but you could make these inventions that give you like I want to be a melee Artificer. I'm going to make some cool modifications to my plasma blade, and I'm going to give myself some armor so I can really go toe to toe with these with all these different guys. So will it be this exactly? Probably not, but this is the kind of thing that I'm thinking of. So what happens when your plasma blade malfunctions? Maybe like the power fuse is tripped and you can't use it again until it's fixed. And it might take, and again, so like how often should you be able to fix it? You should be able to reliably fix it. So like out of combat, mishaps are just easily cleared. It's not a like out of combat, this is your invention, you can fix it easily. But in combat, you should be able to repair it roughly 75% of the time. Like most of the time, there should be a sort of a smallish chance of you not being able to repair it. But you should be able to fairly reliably repair it. It's like if you spend an action, you're quite likely to repair it. You spend 2 actions trying to repair it, like yeah, it's repaired, it's fixed. Okay. So the DC what I'm thinking is like the DC for the malfunction should increase the more it's been juiced. Something like that. Yes, so yeah, I don't want to overly punish players. So the malfunction would be like at the end of your turn. So like you're like like your kyber crystals or whatever, like the crystals in the lightsaber they're so stressed that they just like they shut down, but only after you've done the cool thing with it. Like, so you should reliably be able to like juice the thing way beyond, and then like you get to attack, do some big attacks, and then at the end of that turn, like the DC, you might have like a DC 16 or 17 or 18 like to fix this thing, right? So the invention should always work and then malfunction. I think that's fun, rather than rather than like, oh, I hope my thing works. No, like your invention. This is you're an inventor. Master Cheat's real name is John Nimble. Master the Cheat. Excuse me. I love you guys. I love your creativity. So the railgun, I think the thing that makes sense is that the railgun might jam. And maybe it's something more interesting than a jam. And the worse the mishap, the cooler the effect can be, because like they are sort of two sides of the same coin. If you give yourself some disadvantage, then like you can design in an equally cool advantage. Okay. So railgun, what does it do? So the plasma blade, obviously, it is just a melee weapon. Maybe it could gain reach, or maybe it could do different things. I think you can. I think at a higher level, you can. You have the option to like do like a sweeping strike. You can damage 2 adjacent enemies. So like if you're here and an enemy's here, and another enemy's like behind them, then like, yeah, you can like pierce through both enemies. Or if there's like, you're here and there's like 2 enemies here next to each other and next to you, then you could just like slash both of them. That kind of thing is really, really cool. The railgun, reach 10, ignores armor. Maybe the armor ignoring is an upgrade, maybe not. We'll see. But this is the idea that I'm having. So reach roughly 10, like fairly long range. And actually, it should be range. 2 actions. I'm convinced that it should be at least 2 actions, maybe 3, but I think 2 is the sweet spot. It damages all creatures in a line. So like, there's a dude like standing here. It hits him. It goes through him. There's another guy there. It goes through the next guy. Just like if you've ever seen a railgun video, not video game. If you've ever seen like an actual railgun, like you'll see that like they go through. All right, we don't need. And again, is it going to be called railgun? Maybe not. Like boom, boom, boom. It just goes through like everything. There's sometimes there's like cool. Yeah, there's not any. All right, so yeah. Here's what I was thinking of. So like they shot it out of this thing, and then like armor plate. It just goes through everything. I think that kind of thing is really, really cool, super duper cool. So that's the kind of feeling that I'm going for with this type of hood. Could you reflavor it as like an electric zap, and the lightning bolt goes through all of those things? Like, yeah, totally. You totally could. And the skill check might be based upon how much it was overcharged. That feels about right. Here's another weapon, a Pulsar net. Again, name is up for discussion. Restrain all creatures in 2 adjacent spaces. And then the escape DC is DC 10 plus int. So like you just instantly restrain creatures. You don't have to make any checks or anything. Like they're just restrained. And you can juice it to like increase the number of spaces or increase the range of it. And then like, should you be able to easily restrain like a gigantic, ginormous creature? No, a creature can only be restrained if all the spaces it occupies are affected. So like to restrain a large creature, you have to juice it at least once. Okay, so like it takes up 4 spaces. So mishap, like you're restrained as well for 1 turn. So like the creature that you're trying to restrain gets restrained, but if there's a mishap, like your leg gets tangled in the thing as well, or like whatever, like that kind of thing. I think like feels fair, feels logical, but it's also really fun. So like not all the inventions that you have are like things that are able to uh, deal damage to people directly, but like you can do cool do cool things for your teammate, like setting up really strong turns for your teammates. Grapple gun, range 6. You can pull a medium or smaller creature to yourself, and they are restrained. Or you can move yourself to a larger creature, and then you gain a riding condition. Like, how cool is that, right? In Overcharge, you can increase the range, maybe do some other things, but like Batman's grappling thing, that's really sweet. Or Spider-Man, yeah, Spider-Man's a good example of an artificer too, because at least in the comics, like he invented like his web shooting mechanism. That kind of thing is really neat. I really enjoy that kind of thing. So someone did ask. Gary did ask, can you lend your inventions to other party members? I'm not sure yet. Some of them, absolutely not. So like, can someone else use your railgun, your plasma blade? I don't think so. I don't think so. That's not set in stone, but not likely. It's not likely that that will be a fun thing to do. Because then there's other balance, like really weird balance issues that you need to take into account, and opens up lots of different questions. But could some weapons or some gadgets even be given to a party member? Perhaps. I'm open to that. I think that kind of thing would lend to some really interesting things happening. Would a true artificer ever allow anyone else to touch his vengeance? Yeah, maybe. Okay, so let's see. I thought it would be cool. It'd be cool gameplay to have if your gun breaks in the middle of combat, so you have to swap to a different. Yeah, exactly. Like I really want to juice this railgun, like really, like as far as it can. I don't care if it breaks because I'm gonna use a different weapon right after this. That kind of thing is neat. It's really neat. Like I'll fix this afterward. I'm like, boom, blast this guy really good, and then I'll just use my plasma blade from then on. That kind of thing is super duper cool. But then you have to be careful about your plasma blade, because like if you break that, then like you have to use your pulsar gauntlets. Then like now I'm stuck with only having to use this, or I can fix one of my weapons, and like really interesting, cool, heroic, like thematic choices. Oh no, my railgun broke. These goblins will never expect railgun number 2. Oh man, I love it. Yeah, so like this is the exact kind of flavor that I'm going with. Like no other class is thinking these things or making these choices or fulfilling this fantasy. That is a perfect playground for this unique class. Cheat needs to be able to throw a light switch right. Yeah. The system is down. In an old game, Elberon, you got a pool of dice to spend over a number of rounds, which resets after a while. Perhaps having a pool. Yeah, so that is a question that I had. Let's go up here. Okay. So, for instance, here's a question. So, question: do you have a maximum number of charge dice akin to mana? Or do you have no limit, and then the mishaps and the risk rewards of having a mishap, that is a natural limit? I was leaning initially in development, I was leaning toward you get like 2 times your int, number of charges, and you can spend them or not. But I think a more interesting design space is to have like you can just like you have like however many charges. Like if we look at some of the art, like this guy has like a cool battery pack. The question isn't how much energy I'm carrying. The question is like, how much energy do I want to risk pumping into this weapon when I know something bad is going to happen? You know, that kind of thing makes for, I think, much more interesting situations. So like you could juice your things like once every single time, and you only have like a 17% chance of something going wrong, but eventually something will go wrong if you're juicing it every turn. But if you have this additional constraint of, well, I don't want to juice it every turn because it's using up my charges. I don't really want that. So also to analogize this to another class, the mage initially, the chaos mage, the chaos and control mage, you could only like invoke chaos a certain number of times, or it had this cost or whatever, but people weren't using it a lot. But the fun part of the class is like using it and like risking yourself, like pushing your luck to get this cool effect, but risking a bad effect. Like that is the fun tension of the class. So what we did for chaos was, rather than it costing you something to invoke chaos, you get this benefit. It costs you less mana when you invoke chaos. So like, ooh, I want to invoke chaos every single time, that sort of thing. So what I'm leaning toward is, you don't have any maximum number of charge dice or invention dice, or you don't have any maximum number of limit of juice. But the natural limit is, I don't want to break everything. I don't want to have to just use like my most basic weapon. I don't want to have like be rocketed all the way across the field in some bad place that the GM chooses, right? So like there is this natural, I really like natural consequences and like people pushing the luck and the bad thing happening being their own choice, rather than like I can't have a mishap happen because I used up all my dice and now I fight just in a really boring way. I don't like that as a failure state. Weapons, that has to stay. Yeah, I noticed that typo earlier. I figured you guys would enjoy that. Evan, do you think it's good or not, Centuric asked, to have the Artificer be self-sufficient in terms of weapons, or should it interact with the regular equipment too? I think because they are so focused on equipment, I think they should be like largely self-sufficient. Like, I would love it if like the only weapons they could use, or maybe like the only weapons I want to use are the ones I made myself. That kind of thing. They're sort of like they're sort of equipment snobs. That kind of thing I think is pretty funny. Yeah. Extreme armor piercing, yep. Can you lend your inventions to other party members? I think largely no. Would teammates be smart or crazy enough to use them? Yeah, there's that also. But the cool thing about the inventions is like how you as Artificer gets to use them. And like, I don't want to have to like hand someone something and then like, and when you shoot the railgun, here's all the mechanics of how it works and here's all the different mishaps. I don't want someone else to have to learn like how your class works for you to do a cool thing, I'd rather just like your class is your own thing. Level 20, activate instant kill. Grapple gun should be written relative to the hero's size. There are options for large and small and large heroes in the core rules. Yeah, perhaps. I don't know if there's any large heroes, but there are small heroes or ancestries. So my Jedi Spellblade idea won't work. No, yeah, Tony. I think if you wanted to play Darth Vader, I think Spellblade would be pretty close to what it was. In my mind, Darth Vader is a mix of the Artificer. So Anakin, he's an Artificer growing up. He was a multi-classed Artificer, and then he became a Scion. So like he'd do like brain things like Force Choke and that kind of thing. So Darth Vader, in my mind, is multi-class Artificer Scion, but could also be a Spellblade. And the art is very the art of the Spellblade is actually pretty closely reminiscent of Darth Vader. Oh no, my railgun broke. Okay, I read that one. That's still funny though. I like to know limit approach. One less thing to track. Yeah. I really like that. Asking because one big weakness of the 5e Artificer is that arguably the best move you can do is give out your toys to other party members and let them play. Yeah. I like the teamwork aspect of it. Like, oh, having him in our party makes us better. That's cool. But like, they get to do the fun things with the toys that I made, and not me. And actually, a lot of the fun things that Artificer can do is like, oh, my AC goes up by 1. Like, that's not particularly fun, right? Choices are fun. Mishaps are fun. Pushing your luck or not pushing your luck, like playing it safe or not playing it safe. Like that is a fun thing. But like, static bonuses are not fun. They serve other purpose, sense of progression. They do things, but fun is not their primary thing. Yeah, either unlimited or automatically charging is better. Yeah, so yeah, initially it was like when you roll initiative, you get so many charges, but I would rather have the mishaps be like a core thing, and that be the limiting factor. Like they should be bad enough to where like they that is your ceiling. I like the risk chance being the limit for the charge rather than pseudo mana. Yeah, we all agree. Let it be written, let it be done. I love missed. Hey, I'm gonna watch from zero. Just want to say, okay, all right. Glad you're here, man. Edward, I'm behind, but the no limit design. Okay, cool. Yeah, everybody likes that. Great. No, that's the way I was leaning anyway. It's always tough when I'm leaning one way and everybody else says like it should be the other way. Then I really have to rethink things. How about flavoring their inventions to be tied to the mechanist's soul as they put themselves in their inventions literally? And it could be, but also like maybe it's just the mechanist who's wearing the battery pack. It could be, and I'm going to develop the flavor of it. So if I go over to the Artificer's thing, it's like here, like this, like the intro text for the class is sort of where I develop the flavor, and like this is just for the hex binder. That's where I developed the class. So might it be that their battery pack like pulls in mana from the universe or ether or like their own energy, their own essence? Like I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, how that's going to look yet. But yeah, we'll develop the fantasy of the class a little bit more later. So all of this is just so you guys can see. Mechanist. So level 1, so I've already inputted some of the things here. So here's a couple of the different ideas. Level 2, more complete class. So if I reset this to like the base, this would be basic class flavor. So it would be that basic class flavor, more complete class subclass flavor / utility thing. First cool ability, choose first cool ability. Level 5, big improvement in secondary stat. So like this is sort of the framework that I have for classes. So let's undo that, just so you know. So like this isn't actually filled in yet. Who wants to use a simple sword when you can shoot charged particles at them? Yeah. Very self-sufficient. I did add a custom handle invention that allows you to use a regular weapon for those players who might want that. Otherwise, Artificer is locked out of magic items. Yeah, I mean, in Nimble, like magic swords and things, like they're not as big of a deal. Like in Nimble, the magic sword would be like probably not even as cool as any of the Artificer's inventions, but it might be like you can command dwarves when you hold this axe, like that kind of thing, which like you could just like duct tape that axe to your weapon, Yeah, magical weapons are sort of very different. The numbers for damage output for martial classes are already taken into account. The numbers, the damage numbers for martial classes don't assume that you're getting a +1, +2, +3 weapon at certain intervals. They're just assuming using the base weapons. So you don't need additional damage from your weapons. So weapons are free. Magical weapons are free to do cool, weird things rather than just like +1, +2, +3. Okay, a couple more questions, then we'll look at some of the other ideas that we have. Oh, and if you guys want, if you guys would like to check out the alpha rules once I get them up, they're going to be at the Nimble Co Patreon. I may not get them up today. I might not get them up today. But if you guys want to go to the Nimble Co Patreon and sign up there, that's where they're going to go. The alpha rules immediately when they're done. Immediately once I input all the information here and I have it at least the first like 5 levels or so in a playable state, I'm putting the rules up there. So if you already sign up on Patreon, that's where it's going to go. I'm going to be doing some playtesting, and the playtesting for the Witch, the Hexbinder, is going really, really well so far. So just so you guys know, if you guys want to check that out, that is the place to. That is definitely the place to go. Okay, so a couple more questions. I think there's a single large ancestry. Yeah, maybe. Okay, it's been a while. I've written so many things. There is the question: how many rounds are in a encounter? Generally 3 to 5, sometimes 2, maybe 3 to 4, sometimes 2, sometimes 5. Generally is pretty typical. What if every turn I charge a different gadget? That's fine. That's fine. Like some of the gadgets will break, some of the inventions will break, some of the inventions will do something else that's bad if they have a mishap. I think ideally, in like each weapon, each invention, like you can make better. So like the sword and the railgun and the other thing, like they're not all going to be equally good. Like if you want to focus on being melee, like you'll take the sword and you'll make the sword better. So if the sword breaks, like yeah, you can use your gun, but the gun isn't as customized, that kind of thing. Just as we all agreed on the one column, and you remember that? I can imagine how typical dwarves would love to see their ancestral heirloom duct taped over a gun. Yeah, totally, man, totally. That's just a for instance. Okay, Hexminer is such a cool name for the Witch House. Yeah, I like it. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other ideas that we had. And again, these are very much in flux, but just so you can sort of see some of the direction I'm going, not final ideas. So I think at like level 2, level 3, so because the Artificer doesn't have like spells that they can get, and they don't have like sneak attack dice that get improved, and like other things that like naturally improve as you go, like them being able to choose new inventions to make and choose new ways to upgrade those inventions, that is their progression. So there's going to be a lot of gadgets, a lot of inventions, a lot of ways to customize your gear. So like you might adjust your armor to like be Aether to like some armor that like gives you a bonus to initiative when rolled. Your armor might give you like when you're crit, you gain 1 action, right? Chrono shard armor, like it makes you like create more time. Like whenever you're crit, this is the thing that happens. So like you can choose, and they're not all going to be. So like this one might be like the good version, the better version, the best version. So like there's gonna be different ways to do this. If you want the armor, the gear with the best armor, the most survivability, well then all right, it's not gonna have as many cool things. But if you pick the one that has a little bit less armor, but when you're crit, it gives you this other cool thing. So like there's gonna be a lot of really cool choices that you can make. Like I wonder which of my outfits I'm gonna put on, today, that kind of thing. So gadgets. So gadgets don't use charges. These are single-use things. So something like a homing missile. So I'm not sure if there's going to be an invention or a gadget, but these are just sort of raw ideas. And again, is it going to be a homing missile? No, probably not. But this is the fantasy that I'm trying to capture, and we'll work on the flavor later. So range 8 doesn't miss, and it deals like a bunch of damage. So like this range attack that doesn't miss and deals a lot of damage. Swarm missiles. This is a range attack that can hit a bunch of this deals small damage to a bunch of different targets within range, sort of like a selective AoE type of thing. Reactive armor. When struck in melee, you can knock a medium or smaller attacker back 1 space and they land prone. Like, oh, that's pretty cool, because like it's not reducing any damage, but it's setting up like a cool attack for your allies, that kind of thing. Mishap, so you can juice it. You can increase the charge to increase the size category or the distance by 1. Or a mishap, like you're both knocked back or knocked prone. You give it the juice, increase the size category, that kind of. So these are, again, just raw ideas. Auto shields, I think we already looked at that. You could sort of like defends for you. Early warning sensors. This is like a sort of a smaller gadget. You can gain bonus to your initiative or bonus to perception when checking for traps or other dangers. Rocket boots. This is one of my favorites. You can spend a charge, or you can juice it to move for free, and you gain flying. You can gain flying until the end of the movement. And if you boost it, you gain additional speed, so you can like move further. But if you overcharge, or if you have a mishap, so I've been toying with a lot of different ideas, like charge, overcharge, versus. So I would call this a mishap. You would land prone in a random spot somewhere within 4 spaces of your intended destination, chosen by the GM. Like that kind of thing, like feels really cool. That kind of thing feels really. So yay, I get to move for free. Asterisk, you know. Zoom goggles, I love this one. Charge enhance, like zoom in. You gain advantage, and then for each charge, for each die, each time you juice it, you gain advantage again and again and again. Okay, so you gain like up to advantage 3. So you can roll 4 dice and take the highest of 4 dice. That's very, very powerful on a ranged attack, at least. But if you have a mishap, we'll go ahead and change this to mishap. He's like zooms in all the way. It zooms in too close, like too close, zoom out. So like you're blinded for 1 round. Yeah, okay, that it makes sense. It's not overly punishing, but it's a little bit funny. You can role play this, like that kind of thing. I really, really enjoy. Time Displacer, +1 action, gain dazed at the end of your turn. It's similar to the cheats. What is it? Counting. Cook in the books. What is it? I forgot the name of it already. I remember the flavor of it, but not the name. Creative accounting. Yeah, that's a good name. Gadgets. So gadgets, I think, are going to be like a 1 per safe rest use. So like how many I'm going to bring 1 set of swarm missiles and 1 set of homing missiles with me. Like I can fight each of one of them once. That sort of thing. And then also, like you can upgrade the gadgets in different ways. So like these gadgets are a little bit more further, a bit further along than the others. So a timed explosive reaction when an enemy moves, a small explosive AOE. So some of the upgrades you can pick. So like when you level up, you pick. I want to invent a timed explosive. And then next time you get to pick a gadget, you can either upgrade one of your gadgets, or you can pick a new gadget. Okay, so if you want to upgrade it, efficient packaging, you gain +1 explosive per safe rest. Okay, that sort of thing. It's like maybe if your strength is 3, you can only take 3 gadgets with you. So efficient packaging, long burn, +1 reach, and targets gain smoldering. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. High explosive, it just deals more damage. Stimpack, this is my favorite one out of all of top 2, top 3 gadgets or inventions. So it's a heal. So this is a healing effect, and it gives you 1 action, right? So whoever this heals, so this is something that you could hand out to your party, right? The berserker or the bard or whoever goes down the most, right? Whoever's taking the most damage. All right, here's a Stimpack. Use it when you get yourself into trouble. Or maybe the fast, you give it to the Zephyr. You give it to the fast one who never goes down, because whoever they can sort of run around and play the medic for people, or maybe you keep it yourself. So it heals you, and it gives whoever is healed an action, and then they have to make a strength save at the end of their turn, or else they're dazed. Right, so like you take the caffeine, and then there's the crash, or like you eat the pixie stick and you get the sugar energy, and then there's a sugar crash. So how could you upgrade the Stimpack? You could just increase. You can carry more Stimpacks. You're able to brew more Stimpacks per long rest. Or you can enhanced stimulants, double the heal, but when you heal with a Stimpack, it causes a wound also. Or reduce side effect, the save DC goes down by 2. Like those, like this is such a cool thing. Like I love this. I've never seen anything like this. Perhaps someone else has come up with ideas like this, but this kind of thing where like, oh, this class can heal, and it has this cool utility, and I can customize the way that it heals in all these different ways, like all in a really flavorful sort of invention. Like I love everything about that. I really do. So this is the direction that I'm going with all the gadgets. Okay. Auto rope. Give yourself or an ally a climbing speed. So this one is apparently one that I thought like, yeah, that'd be fine if you just sort of handed this out. So it's just a rope, like you just hold the rope and it climbs, it climbs for you, you know, like you don't have to climb the rope. It just does it for you. Safety buddy, again, this is one of my favorites. Summon a 1 hit point single use construct to interpose for an ally within reach 2 instead of you. So like so I can interpose, or I can interpose and take the damage, or safety buddy, I throw this construct and then it interposes for an ally. And there's advanced propulsion systems that you can interpose from further away, so +2 reach. Explosive framework on death, it deals damage to the attacker, and then they gain smoldering or other things. Reusable parts, you gain, you have additional safety buddies because like they explode, you can sort of cobble them together, put them back together. Rockets, energy canisters, so different things like that. So some other like cool ideas that I had. Quick tinkering or slash just the thing I needed can pull any mundane item out of a toolbox. I like the idea. I'm not sure about it though. Shotgun mode on the railgun. So instead of like a line, maybe it could be a cone. It just damages everything in a cone. So much shorter range or reach, but like wider angle. I think that's a cool mode for it. Lower the DC on Stimpack. Oh, we already have that, so I can hold it an extra Stimpack. We already have those two. Lightning arc +1 target. I don't know what that's about. So a lot of these notes are from much earlier, and I'm reading them again with fresh eyes. +1 reach to your melee inventions, +2 range to the range inventions. Yeah, so just different sort of generic upgrades you can get. Energy gloves. Okay, so this is an idea for the Pulsar gauntlets. Maybe they stun. Maybe they stun or maybe they daze when you juice them instead of like pushing, because we don't want too many things that restrain or too many things that move or too many things that do the same thing. We want each to have safety buddy always has a dramatic death. Yeah. It made me think of Annoyotron from Hearthstone. I years ago I played Hearthstone some, like this kind of thing, like that's sort of the vibes that I was going for. And if you guys are interested in game design at all, play a lot of different games. So like I've been cooking on, you guys can see over here, Nimble Cosmos. Like, so I'm thinking of like a sci-fi sort of rule set, like what sci-fi TTRPG would have that a fantasy doesn't. Like it has to have like ship combat. So like I've been like doing research on like different games that have like really cool dogfighting rules. So yeah, if you guys are interested in game development, like doing TTRPG work, design stuff as a career or whatever, play lots of different games, analyze the mechanics, like find cool things from that. So sometimes I will look at like a magic card. Like I could just, like, I've got a bunch of magic cards here. I'll just pick a magic card and like, are there any ideas here that could be translated to like some ability that someone gets, or like a monster that I could create, or a magic item, like that kind of thing, using that as inspiration? Because even though there's not like a land system and mana and tapping and haste and all that sort of stuff in like Nimble and like in D&D, what would be an analog in a TTRPG? So think in those kinds of ways. So we've got safety buddy. Yeah, so this, okay, so was it Fuzzy Cat? Had an idea about, had a cool idea. Percussive something another, percussive maintenance. Yeah, so I had that idea already, apparently. So the first time you would have a mishap each encounter, you don't instead. But like giving it a name of like percussive maintenance, like is so much better than, it's like I didn't have a name for this, you know. But like why would a mishap just not happen? Like maybe I'm a reliable tinkerer, or like maybe like, you know, this reason or that reason, but like you hit the thing to make it work. That feels so much better. Reliable tinker, increment your charge die to d8s. Yeah. So here's a different way to think about overcharging or mishaps. So you'll roll int d6. So like for the railgun, perhaps. So like if your int is, let's go to the dice. Let's go to the dice camera. Let's go to the dice camera. So say our intelligence is 3. And so I would roll 3d6. And then oof. So for each 4 or higher, I deal 10 damage. Okay, so that shot I would deal 10 damage. And then for each one, some mishap would happen. So this would be a pretty bad shot of my railgun. This one, 30 damage. So that kind of thing is a good way to do it. So like I know exactly what happens when I give it more charge, and then like there's no mishap. Like always lucky. So what I was thinking here was to attack with your inventions, roll the number of power dice listed. So my Pulsar gauntlets, it might not be like 1d6 plus int. It would just have a power, like some power, number listed. It would be 1, 2, 3, whatever. And then I would roll that many dice. And then for each result of 4 plus, I gain that effect. So the railgun might have a power of like 6 or 10. So I would roll a ton of dice, right? It couldn't be like it wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to deal 10 damage for each result of 4 or more. But like each invention would have its own power level, and it does a thing. So that would be sort of like the dice pool mechanic. And then there was this idea. So if we did that, then we could have this mechanic of depleted. Like once X has happened, once I've done something like some mishap, like my energy reserves are depleted. Rather than rolling d6s, now I get to roll d4s, right? So what would that mean? So if I get a good result on 4s or higher, then all of a sudden, rather than a 50% chance, 4, 5, or 6, rather than a 50% chance of getting a good result, I only have a 25% chance. So like if I'm depleted, instead of rolling d6s, I'm rolling d4s. Like it's much harder for my inventions to work the way they're intended if my energy reserves are depleted. So like I'm thinking of the cool fantasy, and then I'm thinking of the mechanics of like how could I capture that with a dice. So may or may not use that those mechanics, but just different ways to get to the end result. So this is a very, very early way to manage it. So you start combat with 2 charges, and then you gain 1 charge whenever you gain actions. Okay. So like you start out with like a medium small amount, and then if you save them up, then you can like expend all the charges, and at the end of your turn, you gain charges. I kind of like that idea, but I like the idea of unlimited charges better. Anytime you can say there's no limit on something, it gets people. It really gets people. It gets their juices flowing. Each time you spend a charge, roll a d6 on a 1 mishap. So this is like very, very early thoughts. Whenever you roll a 1 on a invention die, mishap. Okay, let's go down here. Okay, so subclasses. School of the Gadgeteer or School of the Weapons Specialist. Again, early names. Cool names are a lot of times the last thing to happen. Just the thing I needed. Once per se first, you can use any gadget, even if you have not chosen it or have no more charges. So say there's a list of like 10 or 20 different gadgets that you have. So this is, I think, a cooler way to do this. Like you could pull any mundane item out of a toolbox. Like that's fine if you're creative, but there's only so much use you can get out of this. But the Gadgeteer, where are we? So say there's a list, just like mages have a list of spells they can use. Like there's all these spells, or the Berserker has like a list of Savage Arsenal abilities, and you've only picked like 2 or 3 out of the 10. The Artificer might have a list of like 10 or 20 gadgets, and like you've invented 2 or 3 of them, but if you're in a tight spot, like you can pick the ice bomb or whatever, even if you've not invented it. Like you could just cobble it together and use the ice bomb once, right? That kind of thing is cool. So you have access to like a really wide list of things, but a limited amount of time. So really like that idea. Tinkermaster. So like this is like level 3, you get this. Level 7, you get that. Level 11, and then so. Tinkermaster, you get additional charges or improvements for your gadgets. So like the base Artificer, they'll be able to improve their gadgets and select gadgets at a certain clip, like every other level or every 3 levels or whatever. But this subclass will be able to gain like that more frequently. Gadgeteer, I think you mean Giznomancer. I do like Giznomancer. Gizmomancer. I like Gizmomancer. Is that what you typed? It's really small on my screen. Gizmomancer. That is a cool name. Tinkermaster, you get additional charges or improvements for gadgets. Always be prepared. Like you can do this thing twice or more often. And then the school is a weapons specialist. So this is the guy who relies. So like you have like this subclass. They have access to the weapons, the armor, and stuff. But in the charges, the mishaps. But their thing is more like using this limited pool of gadgets more often, like more flexibility, like wide and not as deep. The weapons specialist is not as wide. You still have some of the gadgets, but you don't have access to all of them. But like deep, you have like you're much more able to like use your inventions a lot more. And then there could also be like a third subclass like this, armormancer or whatever. Weaponmancer? I don't know. Womenmancer. That's not what we're going for. So reliable weaponry, +1 charge, one of your initiatives, or like maybe you're able to do more charges, +1 max charge. It's like if we're going for the like unlimited charge thing. And your charge dice are rolled. Your charge dice rolled with weapons are increased to d8s. So like your weapons are much more reliable. Extra effects with weapons. Maybe the plasma blade can hit 2 adjacent targets. Railgun can deal extra damage even on 1s. Or a shotgun, railgun. We'll say cone. And then +1 charge whenever you roll initiative, so you can maybe juice it even more. I think 4 is probably the limit. Charge dice with weapons increase to d10s. Okay. So what if? So one thing we didn't take into account is if we increase our maximum dice to d10. So if we juice it to 3, there's a 66% chance. If we juice it to 4, it's 87% chance. Okay, 4 to 5. Yeah, like 96% chance. Yeah, that's 4 still seems to be the limit. What if we go all the way up to D12? Okay, so let's see D12. D12, 80%. 4 and then 5. 93%. Ooh, maybe the D12, like maybe the weapon master could go as high as 5. Maybe like level 15. D12 all the way up to 5 charge limit. Maybe. Yeah. That'd be cool. That'd be pretty spicy. Okay, let's see what questions you guys have. Okay, actually, we'll keep going. Inventor. So, like, I will sort of, in a very disorganized way, just type ideas. Like, today I'll type some ideas. A week later, I'll type up some ideas. So, like, again, I've written the same idea like multiple times, and I've just forgotten. So that's funny that I've had the same idea over and over again. Okay, so that's those are the notes I have. Let's take a look at comments and questions. Safety buddy always has a dramatic death. Yes. What is my purpose? You interpose. Yeah. Safety buddies, they don't live long enough to ask those kinds of questions. Build a safety buddy that is inevitably destroyed, but gives a +1 to attack roll for dex attacks. A safety buddy that gives a buff. it wouldn't be a safety buddy. It would be like a cheerleader buddy. Like, could the Artificer make like a cheerleader buddy that like gives some buff for as long as it lives, but like when it takes damage, the buff goes. That's a fun idea. That is a fun idea. Let's write that down. Cheer squad gives you like this is really fun. Okay, so like cheer squad, it's not gonna be called cheer squad, but cheer squad is like, with this ability, your tactics will change completely. If it is a really big buff, all of a sudden, this is sort of like capture the flag, right? I love ideas like that. I love abilities like this. So all of a sudden, you're interposing not just for each other, you're interposing for the cheer. it feels silly just saying it. You're interposing for the cheer squad, okay? Because they're giving you and your allies an extra buff. Like maybe it's like a buff as big as +1 action. Like maybe it's like a really big buff. But if it takes any damage, it dies. Like now the whole game is warped around that. It's a single-use thing. You could use it once per safe rest, probably. But that kind of thing is so cool. Like so cool. +1 action plus temp HP, advantage on all attacks. Like something big to where monsters don't want to ignore it. Allies want to protect it. Like this is a game warping in a fun way, like sort of a mini game within it's like, come on, come on, Brandon, we're losing. You gotta bust out the cheer squad, you know? All right, cool. I love that. I love that so much. So it shouldn't be, you know, so a melodic method, like cool idea, but +1 to attack roll for next X attacks. That gives me something I need to remember and track. Like it's something that is something that is not physically happening at the table, so I just need to remember it. There's no physical thing for me to track and remember, or to remind me, that is. Uh-oh, I muted myself. Sorry. Okay, so sorry. Got me on a tangent. So what I was saying is like prone. Prone is a really nice condition because like this guy causes prone. Like, okay, I just need to remember prone. Like, no, it's just nobody needs to remember it because you just do this when a creature's knocked prone, right? So prone is a really nice condition to have effects make because it gives like prone is the best condition. Okay, great for naps, but just as a design tangent, because it can be physically signified at the table. Nobody needs to save brain space remembering it. Also, it can both act as a buff and a debuff. It gives ranged attackers disadvantage against you. It gives melee attackers advantage against you, and it changes the tactics. And there's a cost to removing it. You can remove it reliably, but there's a cost. You have to spend a little bit of your movement. Knockback is similar, but not as good. Well, it's similar but differently good. So if this guy's smaller, so if this guy knocks back, I don't need to remember knockback. It just happens, right? So it's good in that sense. It could be physically shown at the table. But it's less good because if this guy gets knocked back, say, into these really cool looking books here, so he gets knocked back, there's an extra step of me rolling dice. So there's an extra step. But on the other hand, if instead of there being books here, if there was a cliff, he gets knocked back off the cliff, memorable, instant death, no extra steps. Like, so it saves time. So sometimes knockback takes longer. Sometimes knockback saves time and is fun and memorable. So knockback, or push or shove or whatever, force movement, is a little bit of a double-edged sword. Really, really cool. So you want to be careful about things that +1 attack for X rounds, because unless it was like, this guy is my cheer squad, he is applying +1 attack. Okay, anytime I see him, I'm reminded of it. So that does help, but for X number of turns, that's just something you have to remember. So that kind of thing is not good. Do it only when you absolutely have to, is what I would say. I hope that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. Hope that's helpful. Not that anybody's asking, but okay, whatever. You escaped your prescribed fate. Now the world is open to you, but you're unsure what to do, and you're fragile. You start with 1 hit point, level 1. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, someone's already inventing like, I'm a hero and I am a safety buddy. Like my hero. It's a new ancestry. Hitting the thing works surprisingly well, especially if you surround it. Yeah. I wouldn't swear at it, but Lewis, adventure where all players are safety buddies. The BBG is the Artificer. I love you guys. Creativity. Overcharge would be the safe bet, but no. I think if we make the mishaps interesting enough, then I think it'll be fine. Where got me? So catching up. Hey, loving all gadget ideas. Gadgeteer. I think you mean Gizmomancer. For most subclasses, tie them to bigger inventions like construct or turret. So I'm only going to make 2 subclasses, but if anybody else wants to make additional ones, you guys knock yourself out. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with Gadgeteer, like one focused on gadgets, wide and shallow versus narrow and deep. Those 2 archetypes are plenty for me, but I encourage you guys to make more if you want. I love where we're going with this. Thank you so much, Hexodius. Scruffycat, will one of the gadgets be a familiar-esque assistant bot? Not currently, but could be. People love them some familiars. Yeah, pets. Yeah, isn't that kind of what BuddyBot is? Maybe I missed it. Yeah, so the safety buddy is one you just like throw out as like, go get him, buddy. So maybe it's like in your pack or something. Not sure if it got seen, but maybe designs of instead of school of. Yeah, perhaps. I didn't see it, so thank you. Master of, college of. Yeah. Thank you guys for telling me I muted myself. Appreciate it. Kind of like Toy Soldiers. Yeah. Guild Wars 2 had Buddy Mancer. Had a class called Engineer, and it had a subclass that's all about unique little drones that give out busts and stuff. It might be a subclass for the direction. Yeah, I would be very careful about thing that give out drones, plural, like having a safety buddy that dies immediately. That's fine. That's fun. Having a cheer squad that everybody knows about, that's cool. But having a bunch of drones that are all giving out individual busts starts to become very, very fiddly. It can, if not handled very, very carefully. But yeah, Guild Wars is a game that I wanted to love so much, but I could never understand it or get into it. I have an idea around the Guild Wars 2 engineer subclass. You want to see that? Okay. I'm thinking Discord. What about Sparky for the weapon master? That's what we call electricians around here. Fusesmith. Yeah, I'll focus on names later. In case it got missed, I think the negative save should be Dex, since int plus Dex minus is the missing combination. I think will makes more sense though, but I'll think about it. Okay, everybody. If you guys want to see the first alpha of the Artificer, I'm pretty sure it's going to be up this week. So go ahead and check out the Nimble Patreon. It's just $3 dues, just $3. It's like a little bit more if you're in Europe, unfortunately, just because of how Patreon is. I don't know exactly why all that stuff happens. But check out the Patreon if you guys want to be the first to see the alpha rules. The goal is at least to have the Artificer rules out this week. So if you guys want to check it out, that is where you're going to have it. If there are not any additional questions, oh, there's one. With the Hexbinder and Scion, we'll have more classes than combinations anyway. Yeah. The dreaded VAT. Okay, yeah. I don't know about all of that stuff, but it's still less than $5 wherever you are. Yeah. So the reason. So to go back to something I was thinking earlier, the reason why. So the Hexbinder is it's in beta. It's going really, really well. It's starting to get fine tuned. This one is like the first few levels are like starting to get fleshed out. And the Scion is like a list of a bunch of abilities. What I want to be able to do is I want to be able to like playtest all of them like at the same time. Like having them all at different sort of states is kind of fun, but being able to playtest more than one class at a time is pretty much all of the EU has that. Yeah. But being able to playtest multiple classes all at the same time is kind of fun, and it's more efficient as well. So I'd like to have at least 2 or 3 different classes up to a point. We can test level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, that kind of thing. It's contagious. Oh no, it's spreading. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. Hope you enjoy seeing these kinds of things. And again, if you want to see the things that I'm working on, the Patreon has. I'm trying to update it every week. And if you didn't know, there is a 1-week free trial, so you can just click the little button and try it for free. See if you like the updates that you're getting. But I would, if there's anything else. Woo, Artificer, Chris the DM. All right, been busy with the Pathfinder campaign, but I'm excited to return and we'll see what you've been cooking. Yeah, I've been cooking up a lot. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. It's been fun. I hope to do some more streams in the future, and I will be in touch later with more information about the Artificer. All right, see you, everybody.